Chris, what's unusual about this to me, last week we got some hints from guys like Dak Prescott and Tyrone Crawford that this is the way the wind was blowing, but ownership still hasn't come out with that clear, unequivocal, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, forget about everything we said before, we're not trying to thread any needles, we're going to completely and totally and unconditionally, unequivocally respect the ability of the players to do whatever they want. They're dancing around it. We're going to hear from Jerry Jones in a second.
Yeah, let me hear
But
it.
isn't that odd that the way the truth has come out hasn't been kind of, pulling the sheet off of the Rocky statue? It's just been more of a gradual, casual reveal where the sheet's still over the statue and the wind's blowing and you can kind of see what's going on, but nobody's come out and really said with clarity this is what's happening until yesterday.
Well, I think, Mike, I don't know, you tell me. My just 2 cents on that would be, I don't think Jerry Jones wants to make headlines with some big statement, right? That would probably.
He always wants to make headlines.
I know. That's what's shocking about this. You're right. Usually we get a State of the Union address by Jerry Jones, and he goes, this is where the Cowboys stand, and this is what we're going to do. But this is a sensitive issue. And we know Jerry Jones cares about his African-American players, his black players. I'm sure he's had enough of these guys, whether it's past players or guys on the team right now. And, of course, he's compassionate to know what's going on in the world right now to where, hey, yeah, I'm sure he'd like the team to stand, but I'm sure he has a soft spot in his heart for what that community is going through right now as well. And I think he's probably just trying to let it play out Sunday. Okay, there's going to be guys that kneel, and he'll deal with the firestorm, at his next press conference and deal with it that way instead of, making a headline now on Wednesday and having a build-up and a fight in the Dallas Morning News where everybody's going, oh, the Cowboys are going to kneel, they're not going to kneel, what's going to go on, Jerry Jones. So maybe he just doesn't want to hear that crap, and I don't blame him.
I think it's twofold. One is the political reaction, specifically the tweets from the commander-in-chief or members of his family, and there was one recently from one of the president's sons based upon what the Cowboys will be doing. The other thing, too, is Jerry Jones, I believe, is a firm subscriber to the notion that the customer is always right, and the more right that you make the customer think the customer is, the easier it is to pick the customer's pocket. I mean, that's the reality. If the customer's happy, the customer is going to shower you with the customer's cash.
Yeah.
And he was on 105.3 The Fan yesterday, and he did address the issue, and he acknowledged that he wants his players to realize a majority of the fans will be upset. The customer will not be right when it comes to this, but here's what Jerry Jones also said about the team's plan moving forward.
I certainly want leaders, and they have the motivation to, if you will, not use the sideline or use that part of the game, the national anthem, not use that to get people's attention because that's already been got. Everybody understands the issues. Everybody does. I want everybody to understand that if any player that is standing out there has a serious awareness of the kind of activity there is there, and they ask for help, and with that in mind. And so that if they're there to say in a way that you would ask for help, it's not good to be obstreperous or anything if you are asking people to see it through your eyes and see it in your way. It's important to show the kind of grace. Everybody knows where I stand. Everybody's got a good feel for where the country is on this matter. I would expect the Cowboys to show, I'm going to use the word, grace, sensitivity. However they do, I hope the fans will receive it in a way that is a genuine ask for help. Because right now in our society, we've got some things that we do need to address, and I want the Cowboys to be a part of that.
I still think he's trying to thread the needle. He's just trying to thread a different needle.
Yes,
now what he's
right.
trying to do is basically say to your players, I only want you to do this if you truly feel that you personally have a need for help that drives you to break from what I would prefer that you do, which is stand at all times. And to any fans in the stands who may not like the fact that we have players who are taking a knee and asking for help, you need to understand they're not trying to disrespect anyone. They're merely asking for help. We'll see if that works. Now, there's no fans in the stands on Sunday night when they play the Rams in L.A., but there will be fans the following weekend when they host the Falcons. But that's what he's trying to do now. He's trying to get the players to understand it's a last resort and trying to get the fans to understand that it's nothing disrespectful to anyone, but simply that cry for help that the player feels compelled to make. I don't know that it's going to fly, but that's my interpretation.
No, I actually have the same interpretation. You're right. He's trying to kind of ease both sides into this because he's not sure where it's going to go. Now, there's going to be, I would imagine, a number of players who, yes, are going to kneel because they feel like it has hit, the needle has hit red on the danger meter. Like, okay. I mean, how many times do we have to see the same damn story and the same issues? So I think there are guys that are personally hurt by what's going on in our country, and they're going to kneel. And, yeah, I think Jerry Jones is trying to let his players know there's going to be consequences, and you're certainly here in Texas, and people are going to be mad at you if you kneel for the flag. And he's at the same time trying to talk to the fan base and going, hey, fan base, you know where I stand unequivocally. I want the guys to stand, but I'm also going to show grace and compassion for my players, and I hope you would join me in that and seeing this, and that it's more about not just, disrespect to the flag. I think that's what he's trying to do, and I'm not mad at him for it. I'm really not. I mean, at least he's trying to pull two sides together. I mean, nobody else in our country is. So in some ways, I kind of like it. I don't know. Am I weird for that?
Well, but I don't think you have to work so hard to try to pull two sides together, because the problem is the two sides aren't going to be pulled together. If telling people that kneeling during the national anthem is not intended as a disrespect for anyone, that it is aimed at drawing attention to broader societal issues, it's not a slap at the military, a slap at the flag, a slap at the country, and they don't see that, how are they going to see that, oh, it's a cry for help, so that makes it okay? You've got that segment that has it hardwired into their brains that no matter what anyone says to justify it, it's still disrespectful to take a knee during the national anthem.
Yeah.
Period. And no amount of talking or fancy words from Jerry Jones, like obstreperous, is going to make them see it any differently, Chris.
No, well, quite honestly, those are the people that the players aren't going to care about. They're not. So they're going to kneel.
Well, the players never have cared.
No, you're right.
They never cared.
But when you lay it out like that, and you start to say it that way, then they just go, okay, but those people are never going to be in this fight with us, so they're going to kneel and just say the hell with it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and we're going to see that on Sunday night. There's going to be a faction of guys that kneel.
Here's what it really comes down to, because there will be a faction of guys that kneel, and there will be blowback over it. And there will be blowback over the names that are going to be prominently and conspicuously displayed on the bumper pad at the back of the helmet. Once we see those close-ups during games and you see George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Jacob Blake, there will be reaction to that. What will the NFL do this time when they come after the players and they come after the league? Because they're not just coming after the league. When there's a tweet from the president or one of his family members or his supporters get up in arms, it's not just directed at the league, it's directed at the individual players who are exercising their right to make their voices heard. And Peter King asked Roger Goodell about this. We didn't talk to Peter about it yesterday, but it's in Football Morning in America, and I wrote something about it. He asked the commissioner, what are you going to do when you get hit with a 2x4 over this? And the commissioner said, I think that's a hypothetical. I'm not sure that's okay. Come on. Of course that's what's going to happen. You got to have a plan for it. You're consciously walking into a minefield. There will be explosions. What is your plan for dealing with them? And, Chris, my hope is this. Instead of Jerry Jones talking for 3 minutes and using big words and trying to navigate the minefield, right? Why not just be ready to engage? If they're going to come after us, we're standing up to them. Because that's how you truly have your players' backs. Silently tolerating what your players are doing is not truly supporting your players. Standing up for your players when they're attacked from the outside, that is supporting your players, and that is what the NFL needs to do.
Well, we're going to see where the NFL stands on that, because it's inevitable, and it's coming. And they've had a lot of talk, and so far I believe their talk, that they're going to support the players and make a stand and do the right thing here. no matter who's tweeting at them or whatever it may be. Now, I don't know if Jerry Jones is going to be that guy. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like he's very warm and cozy with Donald Trump, so I don't think he's ever going to do that. But I think the rest of the NFL.
How do you reconcile that? How do you look? Stop being political. But how do you reconcile that when the president is continuously badgering the NFL over players protesting? How do you reconcile supporting player protests with supporting the guy who's badgering the NFL over players protesting? How do you reconcile that?
Listen, there's so many things I can say right now, Mike, but I'm not going to say it. I know.
But here's the point. Strip aside the politics.
Yeah.
This is a basic business dilemma. There's a person I support who doesn't support what my players are doing, but I support what my players are doing. It's a basic challenge of logic, and there's no logical way to satisfy both ends of that.
No, there's not.
And that's why you can't ride the fence on this. You have to eventually pick a side. And what Jerry Jones is trying to do, what's that thing, that balance beam during gymnastics, that skinny, he's trying to walk the balance beam. It's called the beam.
Right.
He's trying to walk the beam as long as he possibly can. And it's not going to work because eventually the players are going to say, it's not enough to just look the other way while we protest and bite your lip and brace for the reaction. You need to stand up for us when somebody bullies us over this. You need to stand up for us when people criticize us over this. You just can't go run and hide like you did 3 years ago, which is what the NFL collectively did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They ran and they hid when the crap hit the fan.
Yeah, well, the crap will hit the fan if they do that again. I do. I think the players will be pissed and they're going to revolt, and I don't know where it would go if the NFL isn't supportive this time around. So I would be very scared of that. What?
The minefield is more concentrated this time.
Yeah.
And there's all different sorts of minds. And if you step the wrong way on this, what you're going to have is what happened in the NBA. And you're going to have players say, we're taking
maybe
this
we
week
don't
off.
play. Yeah, right.
If
the owners don't support,
truly
right.
support us,
right.
If people are going to come after us and call us names, and they're going to be all riled up into action by the president or someone who is connected to him, and you sit back and say nothing this time, it's going to get worse, not better. And look, I'm not trying to stir up trouble here. I'm just trying to anticipate where the dominoes are falling. And the NFL needs to have a plan for what's coming, because no plan is not an acceptable plan for what is coming, because you have to envision that it's coming and you have to be ready for it, and you better support your players or you're going to have a bigger problem than having the president sending out nasty tweets at 2 a.m.
Yeah, no, I agree with you totally, Mike. And you're right. At some point, we're going to have to deal with this. I think it's going to come, we're going to be talking about this Monday morning. In my crystal ball, if I had to look at the way the world's going, segment 1, we're going to talk about the games. Segment 2 is going to be, the backlash, the tweets, all the things about guys kneeling on Sunday. And, it's a shame. But, this is not going away, especially in election year. And you're right, Mike, the owners better, hold strong here. Support the players. Do what's right.
I'll see your Monday morning, and I'll raise you a Friday morning.
A Friday,
because both days we're going to be talking about it, because the game starts Thursday night, and we're going to see those names on the back of the helmets. We're going to see Bill O'Brien.
He's going to
kneel. He still feels the way he did a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
He's kneeling during the anthem.
Right.
And see, so many of the things that only the hardcore football fans have been paying attention to are going to explode onto TV screens across the country, and casual fans are going to be jarred by it because they haven't been paying attention.
Yeah.
And it's coming, folks. It's coming.
And a guy like Bill O'Brien do it is going to send shockwaves, which is great, because Bill O'Brien is a man's man, an American working man, self-made. And for again, it goes back into the white quarterback, white coach conversation. When those guys start to kneel, I think that can have a tremendous effect on anybody watching it in our whole country.
And there'll be backlash, and we'll see what the league and the owners do about it this time around. Will they stand up and fight back on behalf of the players and coaches like Bill O'Brien, or will they find a bed to crawl under and wait until it all goes away?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.